You know, I've always said that success leaves clues. And one of the most fascinating clues I've discovered over my years of studying successful people is this: they understand the power of privacy. Now, isn't that interesting? In this age of social media and constant sharing, we've somehow convinced ourselves that everything needs to be public. Everything needs to be posted, shared, liked, commented on. But let me tell you something profound. The most successful people I've ever met know exactly what to keep private. Now, here's what's fascinating about privacy in 2025. The more you share, the less valuable your life becomes. Isn't that interesting? The more you protect certain aspects of your life, the more power you maintain over your destiny. Let me share with you 8 things that you absolutely must keep private this year. And I want you to write these down. These are just suggestions. These are principles that will protect your success, your peace of mind, and your future. Number 1, your next move. You know what's interesting about chess masters? They never announce their strategy while playing. They keep it private. That's how they win. Now in life, we're all playing chess whether we realize it or not. Your next move, whether it's in business, in your career, or in your personal development, should be kept private. When you're planning to start a business, when you're about to make a career change, when you're working on a new project, keep it private. Let me tell you why. The moment you start sharing your next move, 3 things happen. First, you give your competition time to prepare. Second, you invite unnecessary opinions that might cloud your judgment. And third, this is the most important, you dilute your own energy. You see, there's power in silence. There's strength in strategic privacy. Most people can't wait to tell everyone about their plans. But successful people, they move in silence. They understand that energy contained is energy directed. Number 2, your income. Now this is fascinating. In today's world, people want to share everything about their money, how much they make, how much they spend, what they bought. But let me tell you something profound. Your income is like your social security number. It should be known only to you and the necessary authorities. Why? Because money has an interesting effect on relationships. When people know how much you make, they change how they treat you. They adjust their expectations. They modify their behavior. And most importantly, they start making assumptions about what you should or shouldn't do with your money. I remember a friend who once told me, Jim, the day people found out how much I made was the day I started losing friends. Isn't that fascinating? Your income is not a status symbol to be flashed around. It's a tool for building your future. Keep it private. Number 3, your good deeds. Now this one might surprise you. In an age where people post every charitable act, every donation, every good deed they do, I'm telling you to keep it private. Why? Because the moment you publicize your good deeds, you diminish their value. You see, when you help someone and tell the world about it, you're not doing it purely for them anymore. You're doing it partially for the recognition, for the likes, for the comments. But true generosity, true kindness, it doesn't need an audience. I learned this from my mentor when I was just starting out. He told me, Jim, the best gifts are given in private. And isn't that interesting? The most meaningful acts of kindness are often the ones that nobody knows about except you and the recipient. Number 4, your spiritual journey. Your relationship with your higher power, your spiritual practices, your inner growth, these are great. They're not meant for social media posts or casual conversation. They're meant for quiet contemplation and personal development. You see, spirituality is like a garden. The most beautiful flowers grow in protected environments. When you constantly expose your spiritual journey to public opinion, you risk contaminating it with other people's beliefs, doubts, and judgments. I've noticed something fascinating over the years. The people who talk the most about their spiritual journey often struggle the most with finding true peace. But those who keep it private, who nurture it in silence, they tend to radiate a quiet strength that's undeniable. Number 5, your family matters. Now, this is crucial in 2025. We live in a time where people share every detail of their family life, their arguments, their celebrations, their challenges. But let me tell you something powerful. Your family dynamics, your challenges, your personal relationships, these should be handled with the utmost privacy. Why? Because family is like a delicate ecosystem. When you expose it to the public eye, you introduce external pressures that can damage the natural balance. Every family has its challenges, its ups and downs, but these moments aren't meant for public consumption. I remember a conversation I had with a successful businessman. He told me, "Jim, the strength of my family comes from our ability to handle our matters privately." Isn't that fascinating? The strongest families often have the most private lives. Number 6, your personal struggles. Now this one might go against everything you're hearing in today's world of share everything and be vulnerable. But listen carefully, your personal struggles, your battles, your moments of doubt, these are not for public consumption. Why? Because when you're going through a difficult time, you need clarity. You need space to think, to process, to overcome. When you share your struggles prematurely, you invite opinions, judgments, and advice that might not serve your highest good. Here's what's fascinating. When you're climbing a mountain, you don't stop halfway to tell everyone how difficult the climb is. You focus on reaching the summit. Then maybe you can share your story to help others. But during the climb, keep it private. Number 7, your goals. This one might surprise some of you. In an age of vision boards on Instagram and public declarations of yearly goals, I'm telling you to keep your goals private. Why? Because goals are like seeds. They need darkness to grow. When you share your goals too early, several things happen. First, you get a false sense of achievement just from announcing them. Second, you invite the opinions and doubts of others. And third, this is crucial, you disperse the energy that should be focused on achieving those goals. I've studied successful people for decades, and I've noticed something fascinating. The most successful ones, they don't talk about what they're going to do. They talk about what they've done. There's a big difference. Number 8, your wealth strategy. In 2025, this is more important than ever. Your investment plans, your savings strategy, your financial decisions, these should be kept private. Not just from social media, but from friends and family too. Why? Because money is like oxygen. Everybody needs it, everybody wants it, and everybody has an opinion about how you should use it. When you share your wealth strategy, you invite unnecessary complications into your financial life. I remember a wealthy friend who once told me, "Jim, the moment I started keeping my wealth strategy private was the moment I started building real wealth." Isn't that interesting? Privacy creates possibility. Now, let me tell you something profound about these 8 areas of privacy. They're not just random choices. They're interconnected parts of a successful life. When you keep these areas private, you create a foundation for extraordinary achievement. You see, privacy in these areas gives you something precious: space to think, space to grow, space to make mistakes and learn from them without the world watching and judging. And isn't that fascinating? The very thing that social media has taken away from us, privacy, might be the key to our success in 2025. Let me share with you a principle I've observed over the years. The more successful people become, the more private they become about certain aspects of their lives. Isn't that interesting? While everyone else is sharing more, they're sharing less. They understand something fundamental about success. It requires a certain amount of sacred space. Now, some of you might be thinking, "But Jim, what about being authentic? What about being transparent?" And that's a fair question. But here's what's fascinating. True authenticity doesn't require complete disclosure. You can be genuine without sharing everything. You can be real without being revealing. Think about it this way. A bank vault is valuable precisely because it's private. The moment you make its contents public, you diminish its value and compromise its security. Your private matters are like that bank vault. They hold your most valuable assets, your most precious plans, your most important decisions. In 2025, privacy is not just about protection. It's about power. The power to control your narrative. The power to manage your energy. The power to build your future without unnecessary interference. Let me tell you about something I've noticed in my years of studying successful people. They all have what I call a privacy protocol. They have clear, non-negotiable boundaries about what they share and what they keep private. They understand that not everything needs to be public, not every thought needs to be shared. Not every victory needs to be announced. You see, in this age of oversharing, privacy has become a rare commodity. And like all rare commodities, it's becoming increasingly valuable. The ability to keep certain aspects of your life private is becoming a crucial skill for success in 2025. Now, let me share with you something profound about these 8 areas we've discussed. When you keep them private, you're not just protecting information, you're protecting your potential. You're creating a space where success can grow undisturbed by external influences. But think about a scientist in a laboratory. They don't invite the public in while they're conducting experiments. They don't share their findings until they're ready. They understand that some processes require privacy to reach their full potential. Your life is no different. Your next move, your income, your good deeds, your spiritual journey, your family matters, your personal struggles, your goals, and your wealth strategy, these are your experiments in the laboratory of life. They need space. They need privacy. They need protection. But here's what's fascinating. When you master the art of privacy in these 8 areas, something remarkable happens. You start operating from a place of power rather than pressure. You make decisions based on wisdom rather than reactions to public opinion. You build your life on your terms rather than terms set by social media or society. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Jim, how do I maintain privacy in a world that demands constant sharing? And that's a fantastic question. The answer lies in understanding the difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is about protecting what's valuable. Secrecy is about hiding what's shameful. We're not talking about keeping secrets. We're talking about maintaining healthy boundaries. Let me share with you a principle that has served me well over the years. Not everything that can be shared should be shared. Write that down. It's a principle that will serve you well in 2025 and beyond. You see, in this digital age, we've been conditioned to share everything. Every meal, every workout, every thought. But the most successful people I know have learned to be selective about what they share. They understand that privacy is not about hiding, it's about choosing. Think about it this way. When you're cooking a meal, you don't invite people to watch every step of the process. You invite them when the meal is ready to be served. Your life's important areas are like that meal. They need time to cook, to develop, to mature without constant observation and commentary. Now, let me tell you something powerful about these 8 areas of privacy. When you protect them properly, they become your competitive advantage. While others are busy sharing everything, you're busy building something. While others are seeking validation, you're creating value. While others are announcing their moves, you're making them. In 2025, the ability to keep these 8 areas private will become increasingly valuable. As the world becomes more connected, more exposed, more public, the power of privacy will become more profound. Those who master it will have an edge that others don't. Remember this, success is not just about what you do, it's also about what you don't share. It's about understanding that some of your most powerful moves should be made in private. It's about recognizing that your most significant achievements often require a period of privacy before they're ready for the world. Let me share with you one final thought about these 8 areas of privacy. They're not just about protecting information, they're about preserving your power. Every time you share something prematurely, you give away a little bit of your power. Every time you maintain privacy in these crucial areas, you maintain your power to shape your destiny. You see, in 2025, privacy won't just be a choice, it will be a strategy. A strategy for success, a strategy for growth, a strategy for maintaining control over your life in an increasingly public world. So as you leave here today, I want you to think carefully about these 8 areas we've discussed. Your next move, your income, your good deeds, your spiritual journey, your family matters, your personal struggles, your goals, and your wealth strategy. These are your sacred spaces. Protect them, nurture them, keep them private. Because in the end, your greatest achievements won't be the ones you shared with the world while they were happening. They'll be the ones you worked on quietly, persistently, privately, until they were ready to speak for themselves. That's the power of privacy in 2025. That's the wisdom of keeping these 8 areas protected. That's the path to extraordinary achievement in a world that's forgotten the value of privacy. Remember, success leaves clues. And one of the biggest clues I've discovered is this: The most successful people know exactly what to keep private. Now, it's your turn to apply this wisdom, your turn to protect these 8 crucial areas. Your turn to harness the power of privacy for your success. Thank you for your attention. Make these principles part of your life and watch how your success multiplies. Remember, some of your best moves will be the ones nobody sees coming. Keep these 8 areas private and let your results do the talking.